Yo. He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Looks like you made it to Thursday, March 12th, 2026. I hope you guys aren't easily offended. I hope not. I guess you got to be politically correct because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. But you got to be tough because we're living in days and times where this is not for the weak. Many, many things are happening where you got to have really, really thick skin. And I don't want to say that the current commander-in-chief is the leader of that movement, but if you are easily offended, then you're probably going to tune out. You're not going to pay attention to everything because the language is rough, the policies are bad, the decisions are horrendous, and I don't want you guys to be easily offended. I give myself a lot of liberty and freedom to talk about things that other radio hosts may shy away from, and I run the risk, of course, of offending people, but just know it is for a greater good. I really, really want to have these conversations that can be touchy. The subject matter of race is still very touchy, but it has such a profound impact on so many things, and I don't want to shy away from it because the issues that race still conjures up, they haven't gone away. I was reading an article yesterday as I was struggling through my illness. Something like 200 lynchings have taken place over the last 12 years. That's pretty significant. When I say 200 lynchings, I mean black men have been hung from trees with ropes. That's not where we're supposed to be in this nation. There are policies that elected officials will come up with to combat a problem. Reckless driving. I want to talk about reckless driving because it is something that it really does impact us here in the city of Milwaukee, not just property damage, but also inflated insurance rates. And if you live in certain zip codes, you're paying an inflated rate for insurance anyway. Plus these additional claims from car thefts and car accidents and the fender and the benders and all of the things makes our rates go up, and people don't want to pay more money for something that is required by law. And some of you are finding that out, that insurance is required by law because Alderman Lamont Westmoreland of the 5th District is lauding the Milwaukee Police Department because so far, since there's been an ordinance change, 100 vehicles have been impounded for reckless driving. If we believe, and perception is reality, if we believe that the majority of the reckless driving incidents, now this also depends on where you live, where you travel, where you shop, where you go for your recreation, you may be overexposed to reckless drivers on the north side of the city of Milwaukee. You might see a few more people running the red lights and running the stop signs. Do you really come to a full stop at a stop sign? Be honest, and when there's nobody there, it's a four-way stop. But do you roll it a little bit or do you stop completely? Because if you roll it a little bit, you can get a ticket for that. Because the north side of the city of Milwaukee is very densely populated, the chances of somebody getting away with weaving in and out of traffic and using the parking lane and running a red light and not yielding with a yield sign or not completely stopping at a four-way stop, the likelihood they'll get away with it is much higher because the police are very busy. They do many policing things on the north side of the city of Milwaukee. You guys know about all of crimes and all of the shootings, which I don't talk about because I don't want to get bogged down in those things that, as individual people, we really can't do a whole heck of a lot about two people that are really mad at each other that shoot each other. We can be very angry. We can be very upset. We can talk about guns and removing guns from the street and locking people up, but it's not necessarily going to stop somebody from getting shot this weekend. So I don't really dwell on that stuff because it'll make people feel really hopeless if I just talk about all the people that get shot. But something much more tangible, like reckless driving, which we know is a pain. And because so many people have done it for so long, I think their habits of how they drive in certain parts of the city are poor, got bad driving habits, okay? That's why when I send text messages, I got to be careful of habits because habits can form very quickly. If I send you a text message, I don't shorten the words. If I'm saying you, I don't type the letter U. I'll spell out Y-O-U because if I start getting lazy and even my personal communications amongst my friends, my habits will erode, and I don't want to come across as inarticulate or illiterate because I've eroded my habits because I use shorthand in text messages. I think driving can be the exact same way because for so long, so many people have driven so poorly. Their driving habits are very eroded. Plus, you have a whole cohort of people that never went to a formal driver's education. I highly recommend it. You know what I think? I think every 10 years, you should go back for a refresher course. You should. Just to make sure you're still on the up and up and you understand the rules of the road, I think it would be a good idea. And also, people over the age of 80, every year you need to get on a road test because 80 is, come on now. Could you imagine Joe Biden behind the wheel of a Cadillac? I didn't see the stop sign. I didn't see it. I'm serious. I just was driving. I didn't know that the lights change color. I mean it. I don't want any of you to get offended and get mad when you find out that the majority of the people who are impacted by this new ordinance where they can impound your car if you're driving recklessly are black. I want to get out ahead of this now because if, like I said earlier, if the perception is, or maybe the reality, that the overwhelming number of people are African American on the north side of the city of Milwaukee, where we as north side residents have raised holy hell. We've complained a lot because we don't want to get T-boned if we're going through a green light. Like, we have to change our behaviors to drive even more defensively to watch out for these people that are just blowing through lights because they'll kill you. I don't want us to think that the policy is racist because more black people are getting caught. I also know that there's probably some over-policing. There probably are more police officers assigned to north side zip codes looking for reckless drivers armed with this new ordinance where they can take your car. And it's really inconvenient. That's why I want to have this discussion so we can get out ahead of this. So people that are listening, if you're driving reckless, if you're running those red lights and you're running those stop signs, they can snatch your vehicle. If you don't have insurance, you're going to have to get car insurance before you can pick up your vehicle. If you have unpaid tickets and fines. You're going to have to pay all of those before they will release your vehicle, plus whatever fine that you get for driving recklessly. So add that one as well. And then also there's a storage fee in which they're going to charge you, because if you don't have insurance, might take you a couple little few days to get your insurance all squared away, because when you go pick up your vehicle, you got to pay all your fines, got to pay all your tickets, got to pay all your citations, and you got to show proof of insurance. Might take a good 72 hours before you can get that insurance paperwork or that insurance documentation on your phone so you can get your vehicle. So now you're paying storage fees. It's very expensive. Alderman Westmoreland said so far $18,025 in fees have been collected. This is great. This is money for the city, and the city of Milwaukee needs money. But please don't think that it's a racist policy. I want to be real clear on this now, because quite honestly, black folks call for these policies. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys know this, if you live in a segregated city and you live on the black part of the segregated city, chances are the people that offend are black, and the victims are also black. So if you live in a segregated city and you live on the black part, I just want to give just some basic logistics here. If you live on the north side of the city and the city is majority black on the north side and something happens to you, or somebody robs you, or they steal your car, or they, I don't know, steal your dog, or whatever people do on the north side, chances are that's another black person. And then black people are the victims and the perpetrators. So when black people call the police, a lot of times on the north side of the city of Milwaukee, because you've got a robust black population, you have black people calling the police on black people, and then black people are responsible for other black people getting arrested, and then we get this big data dump on how many people were arrested. Like, oh my God, 87% of the people that were arrested in Milwaukee were black. Let's not call that racist, because I don't want our policymakers to be shy in creating policies that can save good people from harm. We learned that with the 1994 crime bill. We found out a whole bunch of black folks were selling crack. I mean, whites were selling, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were selling crack too, but a whole bunch of black men went to jail. Then you fast forward a whole bunch of decades and we say, oh, the 1994 crime bill was racist. If I'm black and I'm selling crack and I sell crack to an undercover officer, because that happens. You guys can't tell what undercover officers look like. They're very awkward. They're, you know what I mean? They can be spotted. They'll come up to you, hey, I sure have a hankering for some crack. If somebody says hankering, they're probably an undercover cop. I can't believe how many of y'all sell to undercovers. Sure would love to buy some narcotics off of somebody around here. They're like raising their eyebrows, like, yeah, narcotics. So if a black person sells drugs to an undercover officer, which happens, and then that person that sold the drugs to the undercover officer gets arrested, it's not racist. And I don't want there to be a shirking of responsibility because we are so concerned about racial disparities. I'm going to give you some things when it comes to racial disparities to really be concerned about. But if it is a problem or an issue that African Americans have, and it's African Americans who are victims and black people who are perpetrators, when the black perpetrators get arrested and convicted, and we look at all of the data of the people that were arrested and convicted, and we see the majority of them are black, let's not just say, oh, that law is racist, Milwaukee is a racist place. Milwaukee has racist people in it. But sometimes when the perpetrators are black and they get caught and they get arrested, you can't use racism as the primary reason for those convictions. I'm going to take a break, come back. City of Milwaukee has impounded 100 vehicles operated by reckless drivers in the last 4 months, according to Alderman Lamont Westmoreland. Let's dive a little deeper on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
Did you go along with this? Did you plot this out? Did you go into the store with the intentions of causing a negative situation? This is the part that people don't like once they get into court after they get caught. Now, should he be executed for killing somebody he didn't do? I don't think so. He's already serving life. He's going to die in prison. I think that that's what's going to happen. At the same time, this is a message to the younger folks.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
This is your Milwaukee Public Schools City Conference Basketball Weekly Update on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
The WIAA basketball playoffs are in full swing, and 2 MPS teams are carrying the banner for the City Conference. The Milwaukee Juneau Pioneers opened the postseason in emphatic fashion, overwhelming Kenosha Christian Life 79-32. Juneau followed that up with another statement win on Saturday, surging past Living Word Lutheran 91-61. Now the top-seeded Pioneers set their sights on a sectional semifinal showdown against Cedar Grove, Belgium on Thursday night at Milwaukee Lutheran High School. In Division I, the Milwaukee Hamilton Wildcats are also dancing into the sectional semifinals after impressive victories over Rufus King 58-40 and Franklin 62-53. The Wildcats now prepare for a marquee matchup against undefeated Wisconsin Lutheran on Thursday night at Whitefish Bay High School.
This has been your Milwaukee Public Schools City Conference Basketball Weekly Update.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing because I haven't had my vehicle towed or impounded because I was driving recklessly. I drive slow. I do. I'm not in a hurry anywhere I go. And I'd rather get there late and alive than get there early and dead, which makes no sense because if you're dead, you don't arrive at all. But it would be a different story if they catch me one day I'm in a little bit of a hurry. I don't know. I'm trying to get somewhere real fast and I'm driving and weaving in and out of traffic. Don't get me wrong. I am an expert driver. I could drive NASCAR. I just choose not to. I've got many years of driving experience. My skills have been sharpened on these mean streets of Milwaukee. Listen, I can dip in and out of traffic with the best of them now, especially on the freeway, but I opt not to do that. I drive sometimes the speed limit is too slow. I drive reasonable. I'm aware. I'm alert. I'm cautious, but I also been driving for 3 decades. When I got my driver's license, gas was 91 cents a gallon. You ain't never going to see those prices again. Oh, I have a whole segment of what life is going to be like when oil gets to $200 a barrel. It's not just going to be pain at the pump for those of you that put petroleum in your cars. Everything is going to get more expensive because a lot of the things that we buy, the products that we buy, the food, the groceries that we buy, all that stuff gets trucked with a truck. And trucks run on the diesel. And you need the Brent crude oil and the light sweet crude oil and the heavy sour crude oil to make the diesel to put all your fruits and your vegetables into the trucks to go to the grocery stores that are also closing in the city of Milwaukee. Side note on that, I got a couple of Amazon gift cards for my birthday recently. Thank you. Thank all of you who donated. I went grocery shopping on the Amazon website because you got the Amazon Fresh, and then you got the Whole Foods. Oh, I'm a changed man. I don't like going to the grocery store. I got to be ready to go to the grocery store. I got to be charged up. I got to be fired up. I got to be motivated to go to the grocery store. And then you got to deal with the lines. And sometimes if I have a lot of stuff that needs to be scanned, I don't want to do the self checkout. I don't want, because it takes too long. I'd rather have Bertha. It's usually an older black woman with really, really big fat arms who's usually the cashier at the grocery store. I love Bertha because she calls everybody baby. And sometimes Bertha forgets to scan stuff. I love her so very much. It's a lot. It's a chore to go to the grocery store. I don't think we need them anymore. Just like, how a bunch of restaurants are closing because nobody is really going out to eat anymore. You have all of this variety if you use these. Do they still have Postmates? Is that still a thing?
Yes, they do.
Postmates is still a thing. You got the Uber Eats. You got the Grubhub. You got my favorite. You got the DoorDash.
You trust those people dropping off your food?
Nah, it's dicey. Certain restaurants
will never do that.
The problem that I have, and we're going to get back to reckless driving, and some of you getting your cars impounded, and a lot of you are going to be black people, but then when we find out a bunch of black people got their cars impounded, please don't say the law is racist. Let's say a bunch of black people are driving like fools and getting their cars snatched by the popo. The problem that I have with DoorDash, couple times my order has been messed up. There's been a couple times where they said that they dropped my order off. Because you know how they're supposed to take a picture of your order when they drop it off? They literally dropped my order off at a house I didn't even recognize. They're at the wrong house. And I'm thinking to myself, do I go and look for my food at somebody else's house, or do I charge it to the game? But the biggest, most frequent problem that I have is my food will smell like marijuana. That's often. The person who is delivering the food, the DoorDasher, if you will, is actively smoking marijuana in the vehicle while my food is in transit. And the marijuana, you guys know the marijuana that they don't want people smelling like going to the Golden Nest Breakfast House Cafe, and y'all got mad and said that it's racist if a business rejects the service of people that smell like weed. I'm starting to think that everything is racist. Everything that black people don't like is racist. I think it snowed a little bit yesterday, right? That's racist. What do you mean I got to wait until June or July to get my income tax return back? That's racist. Everything is not racist. Stop crying wolf. Everything is not. That's a problem. I don't want my food smelling like the marijuana that you are smoking while you're That's so stupid. The city of Milwaukee has impounded 100 vehicles operated by reckless drivers in the last 4 months. That's according to Alderman Lamont Westmoreland. He represents the people of the 5th District, which is a northwest side district. Think Mount Mary University area over that way. In a news release on Tuesday, Westmoreland attributed the volume of vehicles being impounded to a new city ordinance that he authored. Westmoreland said toll lot officials obtained $18,025 in fees during the 121-day span since the ordinance took effect. They also recovered $2,934 in citations and had nearly 24 unregistered vehicles get registered prior to releasing the vehicles. During COVID, was that when it was, where you didn't have to register your vehicles and people went years and didn't register their vehicles? I don't know how I feel about that, because I have gone, I don't want to say an extended period of time, but I just was busy. I didn't get around to registering my vehicle for a while. You know, because you got to go get an emissions test, and they don't have emissions test stations anymore. They used to have test stations. In fact, the emissions test station that I used to go to is now a youth prison. Go figure. So you have to look up what businesses and what private businesses and little mechanics and little fix-it shops offer the emissions testing. And this is back when I drove a gas-powered vehicle. I ain't got that problem to worry about. So here's where I thought I was getting over. They're getting over on me. I'm always trying to find little hacks for the system. So when you buy gasoline, and a lot of you do, you're paying taxes. There's federal tax, there's state taxes, there are probably other taxes on every single gallon of gasoline. If you drive an electric vehicle, not only are you not purchasing gasoline, you are not purchasing or buying or paying any of those taxes, federal taxes, excise taxes, gasoline taxes, state taxes, whatever taxes, right? If you drive a hybrid or a fully electric vehicle, they make us pay more to register our vehicles because we are escaping paying the gas tax. And the way it measures out, I'm damn near better off driving a little fuel efficient vehicle and buying gas and paying the gas taxes. I think I pay $225 or $250 to register my vehicle every year. That's highway robbery. And it's racist.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. You all right?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Hello, Eastside Corey. Are you a reckless driver?
No, sir, I am not. I'm a very safe driver. In fact, I'm so glad you're tackling this topic at the jump here, because I had experience yesterday. I'm house sitting for a friend that he let me borrow his car. So I was running some errands yesterday, and unfortunately, my bank is on the north side, and I have to go pay my phone bill on the south side. And, you know, the viaduct on 27th Street, I know is out. That used to be my main street, my little shortcut to get everywhere. But I noticed something, and I don't know if this is racist or not, but I noticed on the north side, gotta be. Okay, so because the north side has the reckless, don't they have reckless driving problems on the south side? Because guess what?
I don't know, maybe.
They don't have to. Well, I don't know. I don't know, how did they come up with this idea of the circle round thing, and then the bumps in the street, and then the curves coming out in the middle of the road? I hadn't been driving in a while.
Clearly.
That trail is absolutely insane for me to get to point A to point B, especially if I know it should take me 5 minutes. It's taking me extra 5 to 10 minutes to get where I need to go. It's like we're being penalized for being a safe driver. You know, I have to be extra patient, and people are driving so slow. I'm yelling in the car going, "Move! Go! What are you waiting for? Green means go!" You know, I got to calm down. So, you know what I'm saying? Now, here on the south side, there are no bumps in the street. There are no curb things. But I got to tell you, they got the worst potholes I've ever experienced in my life over there. So it's like we're being taxed to death. We're paying all this extra money for our school system. Tax. Can we please have at least smooth streets? And is this thing with the bumps and the curvature, is that temporary or is that forever?
That's forever.
Because, who came up with that idea? It's annoying as hell.
Engineers.
It's just like, well,
they told us they were going to do it. People were asking for traffic calming measures years ago. We spent $75 million on the roundabouts and the bump outs and the speed bumps, and they have had a measurable effect. But here's the thing, and I understand and I feel your pain, because I'd like to think it's a small number of people that are driving recklessly, but the traffic calming measures and the engineering that they did impacts all of us. Just like, think about airport security now versus before September 11th, 2001. A small number of people hijacked some planes, but now for decades, millions of people have to be inconvenienced by TSA. That's always how it works. A couple of fools can ruin it for everybody.
What I'm saying is, Sherwin, even as a line at the grocery store, at my grocery store, they took out, I won't mention which one it is,
why not?
But they took out the plane. They don't even have 15 items or less to pick and save on Humboldt and North Avenue, you know, because too many people were stealing, I guess. So they took. So we all have to stand in line the old-fashioned way, and they don't have no speed lane or nothing. So everybody's patient, and but it's just like why do the black folks always get penalized for black people who aren't cooperating? We get penalized. We get penalized in the sense of I'm paying for it with my time. Okay, don't mess with my time and my convenience. And once we have a convenient thing happen, when you take it away, how come we always get taken away, get took? And there's no these curb things on the south side. Oh, no. So I guess they don't have a traffic problem or speeding cars over on the south side. It's just you black people. That's what it feels like. And that feels the same way if I go to the other picking thing over on Juneau Village. Nice. They got the self-checkout, speed lane, boom, 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 out, in and out. You see what I'm saying? That's racism to me.
Okay. It sounds like you just need to move away from the blacks. Just move away from them. Just get as far away from the blacks as you can, and then the streets will not have speed humps and bump outs, and you'll have all of the self-checkouts because the others aren't stealing. Maybe move to a nice Asian neighborhood. I'm not saying go by the white folks. What do you mean where? There's Asian. There's moving to Chinatown.
Where the Hmong people living these days?
First of all, it's not. They live right next door to us. They're quiet though, and it's Hmong, not Hmong. But I gotta go, Eastside Corey. I gotta go. Gotta take a break. Oh, okay then. That was just the gayest rant I've ever heard. He just went full glitter. He just complained about everything. Shout out to Eastside Corey. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
The worst kind of whites, not that I'm picking on white folks, but you know how it goes, is the ones that think that they will lose something if this country becomes more fair and equal. I'm going to say that again. The worst kind of white people are the ones that think that if a black person gets a job and gets an opportunity, and they ignore how hard the black person had to work, and the racism, the bigotry, and the discrimination, and just how people turn their noses up at smart black people. They hate us. And the black person works really hard and overcomes maybe generational curses of poor health and poverty and all of those things. And we got to deal with the police and the criminal justice system that doesn't often have our backs. And then the black person gets a job, gets an opportunity, and a white person sees that and thinks that they lost. Those are the worst kind.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon. Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 1017 The Truth.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
City of Milwaukee also recovered $2,934 in citations and had nearly 24 unregistered vehicles get registered prior to releasing the vehicles. Quote, I am pleased that MPD officers are using this important new tool to fight against reckless driving, Alderman Westmoreland said. We will be closer to claiming victory when we all start to see driving behavior change and feel safer on the roadway because of it, and that occurs in conjunction with a dramatic drop in impoundment numbers. I would imagine that after a year, so far it's been 121 days in which this ordinance has been in effect, and they have impounded 100 vehicles. That's a milestone, I suppose. But I'm assuming after a year, we'll have complete data, and we'll be able to see where the vehicles were impounded from. We'll be able to see what the driving infractions are. I have a sneaking suspicion, and I don't know. It could be people who are on the west side of the city, or people on the very, very far northwest side, almost the suburban-ish areas of the city of Milwaukee. Or it could be the south side, the far south side, the far southwest side. I don't know until we get the actual data and statistics of where the reckless drivers are. But I'm going to go ahead and assume, because there is some over-policing on the north side, but for good reason. More crimes may take place per capita on the north side, so it would make sense that we would have more police. And if there are more police, you're going to have more enforcement. And so when we get the numbers, and I assure you when they're available, because I want to know whose vehicles are getting impounded, where did the infraction take place, what was the infraction, how many unpaid tickets did the person have. We'll have all of that data. And if it shows that a disproportionate number of African Americans living on the north side got their vehicles impounded and they had to pay the tickets and the citations, I just don't want us to call that racist. There is a level of trust and cooperation that we must have when we drive our vehicles. We're sharing those roads with other people. We're also driving vehicles that are extremely expensive to repair. And it's inconvenient if you get into a fender bender and you got to be without a car for a certain period of time. Just a basic modicum of respect for the road and the other drivers. Not to mention, and Eastside Corey was right, there are a lot of potholes. Now, potholes, it's just a part of living in the north where we have freeze and thaw cycles. There's no way we can escape those. If you don't want potholes, go move to Sedona, Arizona. But because we live where we live, that's something we have to be mindful of as well. But if that is the only thing that we have to watch out for on the roads, because now you got to watch out for somebody running a stop sign and a stoplight, and sometimes people just no regard. You ever stopped at a red light? You're stopped. I don't know what you're doing. You're playing with the radio. You're playing with yourself. I don't know what you're doing. It's none of my business. You're in your vehicle. I don't care what you do. And you just, and you see somebody just blow through that red light. It's just so dangerous. And if you're going to drive like that, and if you can't have a basic level of respect for other vehicles on the road and just for human life, then maybe this can teach people a very valuable lesson about how you drive when we're on these shared roadways. Let's see what you guys are saying via the YouTube. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com, or a lot of you have those fancy cell phones where you have a YouTube app. Go ahead and open that up. Search 1017 The Truth. Hit subscribe. You'll be able to view the live stream of this and all of our programs across our 11 hours of talk radio. You'll also be able to participate in the YouTube chat. And then once you navigate over to the YouTube chat, you're going to see a YouTube poll question. I have a very inquisitive temperament. I like to ask you all questions. It helps me get to know you a lot better. And it's something I'm going to be talking about in a minute. I know this topic comes up probably too frequently, and some of you get very offended by the topic. It's a very polarizing word. No, I'm not going to do a whole long, drawn-out hour on the N-word. But the question today is, are you offended by the use of the N-word? Now, I'm not giving any context. I'm not saying, if it's in a song, because some of y'all, even the white people, when you're admitted white people, because all of you love hip-hop. You do. 92%, I bet, of white people like some hip-hop, okay? If the N-word is in one of your favorite hip-hop songs, and you're in the car by yourself, you're alone. There's nobody in there. It's just you. You're going to pick up your kids, or you're going out to dinner, you're going to meet some friends for happy hour, and that Tupac song comes on. And it's just thick with N-words. You don't censor yourself. We know that you don't. Come on now. But all the white people, when you ask them, they all say the same thing. You know what they sound like? They sound like women that say, I never do that. I don't know. I've never done that before. All white people say, I've never used the N-word before. Impossible. That is impossible. A couple weeks ago, we talked about a lady named Nicole Curtis. She might have even come up earlier this week. She had a show on Home and Garden Television, which none of you watched, where she rehabs houses. She shows the before and after of the rehabs of the houses. Well, there was some footage of her working on one of the houses, and she had a hammer and a nail, and she missed the nail. I don't know what she did, but she clearly made a mistake, and she used the N-word. It got blurted out, and it was recorded because they were getting footage for her home and garden television show, which, again, none of you watched. None of you even knew who Nicole Curtis is. Some of you still don't know who Nicole Curtis is. And holy smokes, did it cause a firestorm. Home and Garden Television fired her. They pulled all of her shows down off of YouTube and off of the internet. They came out with a statement saying, we do not condone the use of the N-word here at Home and Garden TV. But even if they did condone the use of the N-word at Home and Garden TV, most black folks wouldn't even hear it. So everybody got very mad and got very angry, and it made all the national news. And I took a different approach to it because it's not like this woman is a front runner running for the U.S. Senate, that she has some profound political influence. She's not some big political donor. She's not a policymaker. She is just a white woman with a show on Home and Garden Television that blurted out the N-word. And she used another adjective, too, that just, the way she used it didn't sound malicious. It sounded stupid, but oh my goodness, did we rake this woman through the coals. Well, I come to find out she went on the damn Breakfast Club to, I don't know, reclaim her name, to apologize. It was a very cringy interview she did. Why would you sit down with Charlemagne? As a white person that got caught using the N-word, that got publicly raked through the coals, you lost your job, lost your show at Home and Garden Television, and this was over a month ago. Even though the incident of when she said the word was several years ago, somebody held on to the footage, and they tried to blackmail her. The people that tried to blackmail Nicole Curtis, didn't get what they wanted. Then they are the ones that released the footage that actually was years ago. And I was thinking, if she really was a racist, there would be other evidence of her saying things or doing things or being at Trump rallies or wearing Make America Great Again hats, or more like visible, tangible signs of her racism, but nothing, right? So she said this N-word. She goes on the Breakfast Club, and I think she made it worse because she's like, well, I'm from Detroit. I got black friends. And then Charlemagne was like, name your black friends. And she just goes through this Rolodex of stereotypical black people names. Then she talks about how much she loves rap and hip hop music. My God, give me a break. But I have a story that I'm going to contrast Nicole Curtis with. The secretary of the Miami-Dade County's Republican Party, the county party, well, they had a group chat, and several Republican leaders in Miami-Dade County, and it's laden. They used, in this snapshot, this screenshot of the text message that I have, this person uses the N-word with the hard ER ending over 200 times in this one particular group chat. But for some reason, Nicole Curtis is being raked over the coals and being made this national example of what happens when you use the N-word. But these people that are literally in the Republican Party in Florida, of all places, are facing next to no consequences whatsoever. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break, come back, ask you to go and vote in our very straightforward yes or no poll on the YouTube. Are you offended by the N-word? Very simple question. So far, with 55 people voting, 45% of you are not offended by the N-word, and 55% of you, that's a lot closer than I thought it would be. The way we freak out when we hear somebody use the N-word, I would have thought it'd be 99-1, like 99% of the people are offended. White people are offended. This is what I come to find out. They get offended by it because they're jealous they can't say it. They want to be able to say it so bad. I know they do. You can tell. Sherwin, you know that song. No, I don't. Tell me the song. You know. Come on, dude. Don't make me. Come on, man. You know that. You know the one. No, I don't know the one. Say the name of the song. N-words with attitude. You know that one. No, I don't know. Sing it for me. No, I can't. They start batting their eyelashes like they're trying to get some kind of permission slip from me. Say it if you're going to say it. Say it. I want you to say it. Say it like you mean it. Say it with your chest. Take a break, come back. Talk about Nicole Curtis. I feel bad for her because she's literally a nobody. Now she's less of a nobody. Or maybe she's a somebody because she went on the Breakfast Club to try and defend herself or reclaim her name or her character because she used the N-word on a show that nobody watched on a network that nobody really even cared about. But then you got Republicans leading the Republican Party in Miami-Dade County using the N-word in a group chat so cavalierly. And it's like threatening to kill black people. It's really, really bad. But nobody's saying anything about them. And these are folks that actually have political power. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Forward Together for Kids is going live on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Join City Forward Collective's Coleston Morgan Jr. along with special guest Dr. Howard Fuller, former Milwaukee Public Schools superintendent and fierce advocate for education, for a thoughtful discussion on Milwaukee's North Side education crisis. Tune in Thursday, March 12th at 11 a.m. on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes and join the conversation.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
If you've been injured, let our team help get you back in the game. Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of the Milwaukee Bucks. Gruber Law Offices, one call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Nicole Curtis addressed her removal from HGTV after a video showed her using a racial slur and apologizing and explaining she habitually makes up words instead of swearing while speaking on the radio show The Breakfast Club. I'm not even a fan of The Breakfast Club. Some of y'all are. Charlemagne is like a gossip hound. He comes from the world of Wendy Williams, who I cannot stand. That's one of our damn problems now. We, as black folks, we get so wrapped up in the tabloids and drama about people's lives and all this celebrity stuff and who's got babies by who and which rappers got a baby mama by this person. That's just, it's so disgusting to me because it's anti-intellectual. And then we're over here literally getting screwed by the system, but we are distracted by stuff that has nothing to do with improving our lives. But I get it. It's entertainment. That's fine. I got strong opinions on a whole bunch of stuff. Because I think that these airwaves are precious. And it's a way in which we can inform, we can educate, we also can entertain. I'm also not a fan of sports radio. I got my sentiments on that, too. Y'all don't want to hear that.
What's your sentiment on that?
Are you a sports... You do a little sports radio, X, right? A little bit.
Yep, I do it all.
Okay. Are you like a huge sports fan? Like huge?
I'm not obsessed, but I did play sports growing up.
Sure.
And
Oh, good.
I like watching sports.
No, playing sports, great. It shows work ethic and teamwork and cooperation and, accomplishing a goal and following a script and following the plays and being coached, which a lot of people don't have that skill. You can always tell the people that haven't played team sports. But I think my issue with especially sports talk radio, which is dominated by white men, most of whom are conservative, follow me, and obsess over what black men, who are most often the athletes, are doing with balls. And like, oh my God, he runs so fast. Look how fast he runs and he jumps so high. Look at him tackle and I think it's a little homoerotic. A little bit, not a lot. It's just the way some men get so, obsessed with another man's numbers. Like, he ran a 40-yard dash in 4.2 seconds. He's like lightning. But they don't cover women's sports with that same vigor. I just always thought it was really weird. Because why do I need to listen to another man explain to me the game I just saw? I don't. We all saw the same game. It's like your content writes itself. I just don't think there's a lot of creativity in it. The game has already been played. You know who ran for how many yards. You know who scored. You know who hit the home runs. You know who had a double and a single and a triple and an RBI. You know who's in the pennant race. You know who's getting the Stanley Cup. You know who's going to the playoffs. Why do I need to hear you talk about that? These are just my opinions. I know some of y'all going to get offended, but only a hit dog will holler. That's just, I also feel the same way about wrestling. That is absolutely homoerotic, and nothing wrong with that. But these men are wearing panties and boots. They're clean shaven. They're oiled up, and they're trying to pin each other. Come on, get back here. Let me sit on your face till you can't get up.
You weren't a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I mean, I grew up with Hulk Hogan, who was a racist, and Junkyard Dog, and then who was the other ones? Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and all the wrestlers from back in the day. But I, as a kid, I didn't know no better. But then as I get older, I was like, wait a minute. Like, there's a guy whose name is literally Mr. Ass. You remember Mr. Ass?
I don't know
that. Okay. No, that literally was his name. And on his panties, his little briefs that he wore, it said Mr. Ass, and he would shake his butt.
Oh, he had a big butt?
Not really. He was just a naked wrestler who was all oiled up, but his name was Mr. Ass. And his claim to fame was he would shake his ass in the ring. I was like, this is not for me.
What year was that?
2000s, probably.
Okay, that might have been
late 90s.
Yes,
no,
I watched wrestling when I was a kid.
Google Mr. Ass. He's a real wrestler, a pro wrestler. And then you had adorable Adrian Adonis, who used to wear feather boas. Jesse the Body Ventura basically was a drag queen. A lot of those wrestlers in that era, late 80s, early 90s, they wore makeup. They had long hair. They were shaven. They're all oiled up. And look at what they're wearing. Only a few of them wore pants. Mick Foley wore pants. He wore like lumberjack outfit. But the rest of them were nude. Well, how did I get on this subject? You guys, we got Colestin Morgan and Dr. Fuller coming in talking about education. I got to get the show cleaned up before they get here. A video released by Radar Online on February 11th showed Nicole Curtis using a racial epithet while filming her HGTV series Rehab Addict 2 years earlier. HGTV announced it was removing Curtis and the show Rehab Addict from the network, calling the comment offensive and not aligned with the network's values. Curtis posted an apology to her Instagram story on February 11th, saying the word was wrong and not a part of her vocabulary. The Rehab Addict series featured Curtis renovating historic homes in Minnesota and Michigan. Its 9th season had been scheduled to return in February before the cancellation. On March 10th, 2026, Nicole Curtis appeared on the radio program The Breakfast Club and said the slur was unintentional and that she had never used it before. Even if she did, so what? When I come back, I'm going to talk about a group of people that we should be way more concerned about using the N-word than Nicole Curtis. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth.
This is Sherwin Hughes from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And Truth Nation, you can now watch my show live on YouTube every day from 9 a.m. until noon. Yep, you can get 3 full hours of watching Sherwin doing his thing streaming live on YouTube Monday through Friday. You'll get the same insightful conversations about policy, politics, and lifestyle while also seeing my reaction to the unpredictability of our listeners. So go to YouTube right now, subscribe to 1017 The Truth, and see this wonderful smile live every day.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee. A locally owned Good Karma brand station. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Truth with Sherwin Hughes. If you haven't done so already, go to the youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth. Hit subscribe. Feel free to chat. They're all very friendly people in the chat. Most of them are. And you can also participate in our YouTube poll. Are you offended by the N-word? And it doesn't matter what your race is, because there are some people that are not black that are offended by the N-word. Generally, I'm not offended by it, but context means a lot. There's a very not nice name that some people refer to women with. It's very bad, very bad. I can't say it's bad. But it also is the proper name of a female dog, right? It's the B word. Oh, it's bad. Ooh, don't you ever say the B word. It's so bad. If you say the B word, you'll be in trouble. But if two women that have known each other since high school get together for the first time in 5 years, they haven't seen each other in a very long time, and they refer to each other, oh, that's my B. I'm not offended by that. That's not offensive. So context is everything. Now, if a man comes along, and these two women that know each other very well, they've known each other for a very long time, they're referring to each other as each other's B. But if a man that doesn't know either of these women say, what up, B's? What's going on, you two B's, you? B, then that's very offensive. See, context matters. If you have a couple of African-American people, friends, maybe they're related, maybe they're family, and they're using the N-word, I don't know, affectionately, or maybe they're describing something, and the N-word can be a really convenient adjective. It can be. That's not necessarily offensive. And also, if two people are having a conversation, if I don't know either of those people and they're not talking to me, and let's assume they're not yelling and screaming it, then it's none of my business. I hate people that hear something that has nothing to do with them whatsoever, and then they chime in with their sensitivity. You mad, bro? Just relax, chill out, go do something else. Go find you some business. Don't concern yourself with with what other people are doing. So context matters. Also, if the word is used, and if the person that's using it doesn't have any power or any influence over African American life, then does it matter? You have an entire political party right now that is legislating the N-word. I think it is more offensive to legislate, like with Donald Trump cutting out DEI, and I actually have some information I'm going to share with you about the real costs of removing and rolling back DEI initiatives in the federal government and how they bled into the private sector. There's real institutional cost and harm. Trump didn't say the N-word once in those executive orders that he signed. But you know that is what his sentiment was, and so is the sentiment of his party. Now, there's proof of that. I'm going to share with you the details of this group chat that people from the Miami GOP were on, and their casual use of not just the N-word, but talking about actually killing black people. This one comes from the Floridian.com. The recent uptick in anti-Semitic and racist language being disseminated by younger Republican activists nationwide has largely been fueled by a younger generation that follows extremist online influences like Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, and, of course, Republican gubernatorial candidate James Fishback. It appears this has now spread to the Miami-Dade Republican Party. In a disturbing series of group chat entries obtained by the Floridian, Miami GOP Secretary Abel Alexander Carvajal ran a group chat in which the N-word was used over 200 times, and members celebrated the removal of an African-American activist from the FIU College Republicans. You would think that if there's an African American who is an out-of-the-closet Republican and leading the college Republican Party, like that would be celebrated, right? Because if the Republican Party right now has a reputation of being racist, and I don't know where they'd get that reputation from, but if they do have that reputation and there are black people in leadership in the Republican Party structure, you would want to use them as an example to say, hey, look, we clearly are not a racist party, even though they are. They could point to their black members, but they celebrated the fact that an African-American activist was ousted as the leader of the college Republicans at Florida International University. Carvajal's chat titled Uber Retards Yapping Incorporated gives a shocking glimpse into the GOP's younger element of college students who espouse hateful ideas. Even more concerning are the chat's members. Carvajal, who is secretary of the Miami-Dade GOP, Dario Gonzalez, peculiar last name for a racist, who is the FIU College Republicans membership director, and Ian, Valdez, the FIU Turning Point chapter president. Here's what I find so very interesting about this. The ironies could not be more rich. They're all Hispanic. All of these individuals that we're going to be talking about in this segment with this story of them using the N-word over 200 times are all Latino, but are using the N-word and are threatening the lives of black people. So let me just use this as a brief teachable moment. When y'all say, I even say it too, I need to stop saying it, but it's lazy. People of color, people of color are marginalized and people of color are treated poorly. We ain't the same. White people made that up to try and lump us all together because they see us as the same. We know that some Latinos and Hispanics literally hate our guts. They come over to this country, not knowing very much about America. They know a little bit, but they know one thing. Black people are terrible. Black people are criminals. Black people are the worst of the worst. They come over to this country knowing that, and they can better blend into America by espousing racist views. But I find it so ironic when I see those last names, because what some of them don't know is that the same white folks that do not like us hate them too. I was on the TikTok, which I don't recommend it. However, it's very good news on the TikTok if you're looking for unbiased information about the war in Israel and Iran. Oh, there's some Al Jazeera live on TikTok is the most. All of our news is censored here. All of it. All of it. They're lying to us. You will see the contrast because international news outlets, especially those that don't have a quote-unquote dog in the fight, they are covering what is happening objectively, including the number of Americans that have been killed. I assure you it's more than 8.
How many do you think there is?
Hundreds. We'll find out eventually. Family members are going to start asking questions. You know what else is something that you all need to be mindful of? Trump ran on ending wars, getting us out of wars and stopping wars and no more forever wars. And MAGA was behind him on that. Now MAGA has to be pro-war. MAGA used to say, we got to get the pedophiles out of the government. There's so many pedophiles. There's pedophiles in the government. They're going to release the Epstein files. I can't wait till they release the Epstein files. It was MAGA that pushed for that. Now they're pro-pedophile. Ain't that wild? How they're now pro-pedophile and pro-war, just like that.
Don't they?
That's something
It shows
else.
that they believe in nothing except power.
They believe in racism because they will accept war. They will accept American troops dying. And Donald Trump didn't even order flags to fly at half-staff for dead service members in his war, but ordered the flags at half-mast for Charlie Kirk. Swallow that for a second. Charlie Kirk got more respect. They're talking about doing a Charlie Kirk coin. No, they do stand for something. It means that if someone is a white supremacist, they will forgive them for every single committable sin. As long as you want white people to be first and to get the opportunities and to get the benefits, and you get wokeness out of America, and you crush DEI, and you put black people at the end of the line, if you make it harder for us to vote, they will accept anyone that shares that sentiment with them. That's what this means. Even the anti-war president that becomes pro-war, they'll accept that. We come to find out that Jeffrey Epstein's accountant paid a victim, a Donald Trump Epstein victim, to hush her up. Oh, it's so deep. But guess what? It don't even matter. It don't matter. If Barack Obama was involved in any of this, black folks would be the first one that would be calling for his ouster because he would make us look bad. And black folks don't need more people making them look bad. You would think the white folks would feel the same way, but they don't care how bad they look. Carvajal's chat, titled Uber Retards Yapping Incorporated, gives a shocking glimpse into the GOP's younger element of college students who espouse hateful ideas. So Donald Trump being elected twice, the impact of his presidency is not just what we see and the policies and rolling back DEI, and it's not just that. It's the influence it's having on young Republicans. They are in a political environment and a developmental political environment where racism is celebrated, appreciated, and will get you elected. We are losing sight of the fact that there's a whole nother generation of young Republicans that are coming into the fold of politics that hate black people, that hate Jews, that hate people that are coming across the border. I find this one so ironic because the people in this story that I'm talking about, all of them are Latino based upon their last names. For months, Carvajal created and served as the administrator of the group chat. Many times he participated in the conversations. At no point did Carvajal close the chat or attempt to calm the narrative. He labeled his own control of the chat as Mao Tse-able, joking reference to dictator Mao Zedong. The chat goes beyond racist language. Sources have confirmed that Carvajal has recruited members of his racist and anti-Semitic element into the Miami-Dade Republican Party to serve as committee men and committee women. So they're literally actively recruiting racists. But we got mad at, I forgot a lady's last name already, Nicole Curtis. We mad at her. But you've got people that are recruiting racists to join the Republican Party in Miami, Florida. Let me read you some of these messages. Rather than condemn the attack, Carvajal mocked her departure and used slurs. Oh, they also have so when they refer to a black woman, they call them migress. On several occasions within the chat, Carvajal uses the term migress, miglet, and migger, which are variations of nigress, a slur using the female derivative of the N-word. Niglet, a slur referring to African-American children, and of course, the N-word, which needs no definition. All right, let me read a couple of these. Daryl says, total Negro death. Sam, LMFAO, he thinks it's funny. William, kill N-words. This is all in one text message. Kill N-words, behead N-words, roundhouse kick an N-word into the concrete. Slam dunk an N-word baby into the trash can. Crucify filthy blacks. Defecate in an N-word's food. I hope he doesn't own a restaurant. Launch N-words into the sun. Stir fry N-words in a wok. You know they used to eat us, by the way. Toss N-words into active volcanoes. Urinate into an N-words gas tank. Judo throw an N-word into a wood chipper. And he's saying the actual word in this group chat. Take a break, come back. There's no outrage when the leaders of the Miami Republican Party are referring to black people like this, and they're recruiting active racists to join the Republican Party in Miami. But Nicole Curtis going on the Breakfast Club. Well, because she needed to redeem herself. But people ain't saying nothing about this. This directly impacts who gets elected as a Republican in the state of Florida. I think that there should be some more directed outrage. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Coming with straight truth.
Did you go along with this? Did you plot this out? Did you go into the store with the intentions of causing a negative situation? This is the part that people don't like once they get into court after they get caught. Now, should he be executed for killing somebody he didn't do? I don't think so. He's already serving life. He's going to die in prison. I think that's what's going to happen. At the same time, this is a message to the younger folks.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all.
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 Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
One call, that's all.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I like them cool and kinda cocky, not too much to make you move. And try to lock me, try to take away the juice. You cannot stop it, gotta understand the rules. I've been the type to wear the heart on my sleeve. Been the one to always choose the wrong play. Not the type to ever see me lonely. I keep my socks on during loving. In and out, baby, in and out.
833-212-1017. 833-212-1017. Millicent said, that's the same thing with the crime bill we asked for. Yeah, we did want some tough enforcement of reckless driving because we oftentimes were the victims of it. And we don't need our car insurance going up more than it already is. Because if you live in certain zip codes, it's still redlining. I think there's racial overtones to it. It's not fair to elevate all of the baseline insurance premiums in a geographic area, even if somebody has a clean driving record. And some of you have noticed this. Some of you all register your vehicles or say you keep your vehicles in different zip codes because the insurance is cheaper. Now, that's all well and good until you get into an accident. You got to verify where you actually keep the vehicle. So that is still a remnant of old school redlining. Oh, in these zip codes, we're going to charge people more money for car insurance, and legally you have to have it. So that's terribly unfair. But yes, absolutely, Millicent, we did call for some stricter enforcement of reckless driving, and we got it. But when the data is revealed after a year, we come to find out, 75 or 80% of the vehicles that were towed and impounded were driven by African Americans, let's not call that legislation racist. Even looking at the 1994 crime bill, Bernie Sanders ain't proud of it, but he voted for it too. Bill Clinton signed it. Joe Biden voted for it. A bunch of them voted for it. James says, my full EV, I spent $300+ to register this year. Why you spend so much money? Hold on, man. Why you? And we got to have those little orange stickers. Do we pay extra for those orange stickers? Those of you that drive electric vehicles, you know what I'm talking about? You have to have an orange sticker that says, it's a fluorescent orange sticker you got to put in the top right of your license plate that tells, like the fire department, if you're ever in an accident, you have to notify on your license plate that you have an electric vehicle, because if your vehicle starts on fire, there's a different way they have to fight the fire. I wonder if we pay extra for that, because if so, that's racist. Dawn wants to know, who was the artist you just played, the female she sang Take Me Down? That's the Sneaker Pimps. That's an old song. That's, when did that song come out? Probably 90, 95. Leon said, Mr. Ass was Billy Gunn, who still wrestles. And then he says it again. Mr. Ass was Billy Gunn. Thanks, Leon. I think I made my point with that. What are some of the things that conservatives say indoctrinate kids to be gay? Because didn't for a while, like movies and Hollywood and, they're indoctrinating our kids. You know, at school, they're indoctrinating our kids. You know what really indoctrinates kids to be gay? Professional wrestling. That's indoctrination. Yay. Let's go see a bunch of shaven, oiled up, muscular men with long hair, makeup, feather boas with Mr. Ass written across their little panties, wearing knee-high boots with fringes and tassels. You don't get gayer than that, but for some reason, you know what else was real gay? And there's nothing wrong with being gay. Go ahead. Do your thing. In the 1980s, they called them hair bands. Poison, Motley Crue, Van Halen, Warrant, Rats. The bunch of they were hair bands. They wore makeup. They had long hair. It was teased up, and they wore like ripped jeans and tassels and real tight jeans. Those were drag queens. If you had, remember the group Poison? I don't want to play any of their music because I get in trouble when I play copyrighted music, but there was a group called Poison where Bret Michaels was the lead singer. Bret Michaels, who still wears makeup, by the way. Dude, the career is over, bro. Don't wear makeup anymore. You don't got to wear rouge. You do not need mascara anymore. Eyeshadow, you're done, pal. You can wear normal man makeup, which is none. If we had 80s hair bands today, conservatives would protest their concerts because they're all drag queens. That's indoctrination, guys, just so we're clear. We have the wrong idea of indoctrination. All right, back to this group chat from the leaders of the Miami-Dade Republican Party. Karate chop N-words in half, curb stomp pregnant, black N-words. Trap N-words in quicksand. This is all in one text message this guy sent to the group chat. And he's the secretary of the Miami-Dade Republican Party. But where are the people calling for him to resign? They aren't. He is actively recruiting other racists into the Miami-Dade Republican Party. So if we're going to have outrage over the use of the N-word, ladies and gentlemen, it should be people like this. It gets worse. Crush N-words in the trash compactor, liquefy N-words in a vat of acid. Eat N-words. This is the second reference to eating black people that he made in this same text message. Dissect N-words. Exterminate N-words in the gas chamber. Stomp N-word skulls with steel-toed boots. Cremate N-words in the oven. Lobotomize N-words. Mandatory abortions for N-words. Listener discretion advised. Grind N-word fetuses in the garbage disposal Drown N-words in fried chicken grease. Vaporize N-words with a ray gun. Kick old N-words down the stairs. Hey, I'm getting old.
Why do they hate us so much?
Ask them. I mean, it's obvious. Because we're going to take everything from them. They think that we are going to treat them like they treated us. That if we get power, we're going to punish them. We're going to hurt them. We're going to get reparations out of their bank accounts. We're going to take their jobs. We're going to take up seats in colleges and universities that should be reserved for their kids. They think that we're going to get the promotion. They think that we're going to be the police that are going to unfairly arrest, beat, and kill them. They think that we might become president of the United States and do a good job. They think that we are going to make a bunch of money and move into their neighborhood. They think we're going to sleep with their wives. The list goes on and on and on, and they will excuse and overlook all of Donald Trump's policy positions, his pedophilia, and his warmongering, because Trump can do with an executive order pen that none of them can do just being regular working class white folks. It's very, very simple. And white supremacy is not going away. Vaporize N-words with a ray gun, kick old N-words down the stairs, feed N-words to alligators. There's actually a history of that happened in the United States. Slice N-words with a katana. And so then the other people in the group chat, after he said this is a rant, he goes on all one text message from the secretary of the Miami Republican Party. Dario says, how edgy. And then they're talking about how old he's 30. He's not that old. He's 30. He just looks older. He has a terrorist beard. Well, that's a 10-year difference for me. And they're not even saying, hey, that N-word rant was awful. That was offensive. I want out of this chat. I'm resigning from the Republican Party here in Miami-Dade. Nobody is saying that. They're basically just talking about the age difference between people in a group chat. And Sam says, I feel like a baby around all of y'all. Holy moly. That was the response. Participants routinely joked about extreme acts of violence toward black people. The rhetoric shows a sick and twisted fantasy of physical harm and the extermination of African Americans. Carvajal not only remained in the chat, he engaged with it, posted his own derogatory comments, and at times fueled the rhetoric of the chat. In early October, Ian Valdez, the president of the FIU Turning Point chapter, Turning Point, which is Charlie Kirk's organization, renamed the chat Gooning in Agartha. Agartha is a mythical civilization that Nazi General Heinrich Himmler and other Nazis believed was the hidden homeland of the Aryan race. The concept's virality has recently been embraced by neo-Nazis and white nationalists. So I don't know which one it is. I was telling you guys earlier that I was on the TikTok, right? And there was a video that was uploaded of one of these white nationalist, white supremacist podcasters. I can't keep up with all of them. I don't know what this guy's name is. And it showed 3 Puerto Rican, like young-ish men, 19, 20, 21 years old. They were invited into a video chat with this well-known, I don't know who this guy is, but he's a white supremacist podcaster. And the 3 Puerto Ricans were like, oh my God, we love you so much. We're so glad that, we've been invited to your podcast. And dude is like, wait, what? They're like, oh my God, we follow all your stuff. And they did the Nazi salute. These are Puerto Ricans now, okay? They're doing the Nazi salute. Like, oh my God, we're such fans of your podcast. And he was like, I hate you, MFers. Why are you even in my pocket? You should have seen the looks on their faces.
That's the Gypsy Crusader.
You know what I'm talking about, Xavier? The Gypsy
I'm highly
Crusader.
on the internet, man.
Okay.
Gypsy Crusader.
He was like, what? I hate you. And they just were like, oh. And the people that are in the group chat that I just read you some words from, they're all Hispanic. So when you guys use the term people of color,
that guy's not even white himself.
They rarely are. So if these three Hispanics that are in this group chat talking about killing and eating black people, I mean, if they got swept up by ICE, what you want me to do? No, ICE. No, don't. No, don't take the racists that want to feed black babies to alligators. Let them stay in. No. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
What's up, everybody? March 27th, go get your tickets. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be me, Finance After the Kumpo, my co-host, Tony C, and Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair. It's going to be nice. It's going to be dope. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be an experience, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's basically a party/podcast.
Yeah, we're throwing a party at the Riverside, March 27th, TALiveshow.com. Who's the guest again? Can I get a woo? Woo! With Ric Flair. Can't wait.
See you guys.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I want to read this, but this music doesn't fit with it. Have you seen this Ric Flair live read, X?
No, I did not view it.
Are you ready for this? I'm going to do it. Woo! Limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. Woo! Ric Flair is coming to Milwaukee. March 27th at the Riverside Theater, Thanasis Antetokounmpo hosts Thanalysis Live with the WWE Hall of Famer and global icon himself, Ric Flair. Woo! This isn't a cameo. This is a 5-minute live interview. This is a full live show. High energy, unfiltered storytelling, behind the scenes moments you've never heard. And if you know Thanasis, you know he's bringing the juice, the energy, the laughs, the surprises. And when Ric Flair grabs a mic, woo, Anything can happen. Tickets are limited. Don't wait. Lock yours in now at ThanassisShow.com. Thanasis Live, March 27th at the Riverside Theater, presented by Gruber Law Offices and Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Woo! I think I said the website wrong. ThanalysisNow.com. Yeah. Woo! Limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. Woo! So get your tickets to that. Ric Flair is old. Probably he's as old as Mr. Ass. Badass Billy Gunn, who just shortened his name. He's like, the badass part is too much. Let's just shorten it. He could have just called himself Big Bad Billy Gunn or Bad Billy. Billy Bad. Bad Billy. He could have said that, but he's like, nah. No. Oh, well, what would you like to change your name to? Mr. Billy Gunn. How about Mr. Ass? And then let's get new little wrestling. What do you call the wrestling? The little shorts they wear. Because they're panties.
Underwear.
They probably have a name. He's like, well, I need new wrestling underwear with Mr. Ass on it. That's, the more you think about it, you should not let your children watch that. Bunch of oiled up men. And it's, do you know that they're having those are all Trump people. I bet you 90+% of people that watch wrestling. Well, no, there's some, Zach is a wrestling fan. Zach gets mad when I talk about pro wrestling. They're doing a UFC cage match on the White House lawn. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
What? Why? Yo, we're in a war. They're doing a UFC cage match in front of the White House.
Have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
I don't think so. Who's in it?
It's a movie from the mid-2000s. I forgot the actor's name. You would know him if you saw him. He's like in a whole bunch of comedy movies. But that's quickly where I see us moving towards Idiocracy. That's a great movie for you to watch. And once you watch that movie, you'll be like, wow. It kind of explains the whole Trump thing and then all the MAGA people and all the cultists and stuff like that. Idiocracy. Hilarious movie.
I don't think I need it explained. I think other people are so shocked that this could happen. What we are experiencing, Trump is not new. He just encapsulated the grief of white working class men who are dying. Alcoholism, alcohol abuse, drug overdoses from heroin, Oxycontin, and fentanyl. They are jobless. They are poor. They can't afford their health insurance. They can't afford their rent. And it's easy when you have that kind of pounding of the middle class because they're white and they shouldn't be suffering like this. So what you do is instead of explaining to them that it's wealthy people that are controlling policies and politics that are draining their pockets, you tell them to blame the blacks. Because, see, the blacks, they're the ones going to the colleges and getting the jobs, and the blacks are making the money, and the blacks are getting elected president. That's who's doing it to you. And you know where your jobs are going? Your jobs are going to those Mexicans, those border crossers. And they're like, yeah, because if somebody is suffering, they always need a scapegoat. Always, especially in America. And because of the history of this nation, the scapegoat is always a minority because minorities have diminished voices to defend themselves. That's what this is. And it's going to get worse. We're in a war we can't win. I'm surprised they even gave us this data. It was a story that was in Reuters. You guys can go check it out at your leisure. The first 6 days of the war cost $11 billion. The first 6 days. Do you know when this war is going to end? When the United States economy is completely broken. $200 a barrel for oil, that's going to break our economy. And Israel is going to be essentially no longer a threat to any Muslim country. Iran does not have to stop until they accomplish those two objectives. Why? Because Iran got attacked first. They're not going to surrender. They took out our air defense system. The Iron Dome that Israel had, broken. They're blocking the Straits of Hormuz. You know who gets 95% of their oil and natural gas through the Straits of Hormuz? The entire country of Japan, an industrial power that will come grinding to a halt in somewhere between 5 and 9 months. This war is unwinnable. When was the last time we won a war in the Middle East? We were just over there for 20 years and had to leave with our tails hanging between our legs, just like Vietnam. Yeah, it's sad. It's unfortunate. And they're still supporting them. You still have Trumpers that are running in the midterm elections. Some of them will win. Now, there's also a lot of Republicans who are opting not to run for re-election, but that does not mean that they won't be replaced by a more severe incarnation of what the modern Republican Party is. So do you guys remember the Target boycott? Remember that when people said, oh, no, we're not going to go to Target anymore because they took away their DEI policies? Well, I just found out today, because I didn't shop at Target anyway. I'm still trying to figure out who did. Like, why would you go to Target when you can go to Amazon? Amazon is right there on my phone. I still got a gift card balance on Amazon. When I shop on Amazon, I'm not even wearing pants. You can just shop from your living room. I guess you can shop at Target online, but why would you? What is it about Target? How did Target even become so popular? And they've closed a ton of Targets. There's still one on 124th and Capitol. That's not my neck of the woods. I'm not going out there. Then you got one on South 43rd Street. I think that's in West Milwaukee. I ain't going out there. Why would I go to a place when I can order stuff from a place that has more than Target and somebody will bring it to my house? Usually a black guy wearing a blue Amazon shirt. And they'll park an Amazon truck in the middle of the street. They don't care. They're Amazon. They can do whatever they want. You wait until that Amazon truck is done before you beep your horn. They're royalty on these streets. Target boycott ends with no DEI wins. A boycott organized against retail giant Target over its rollbacks of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives has ended after a year. Didn't know it was going on for a year. But I do remember people getting very angry because when Trump was rolling back all the DEI initiatives, and I got some information I'm going to share with you. After our guest, we're going to be welcoming Coleston Morgan. For those, I shouldn't just call him by his first name. He's not like Madonna. Coleston Morgan and then Dr. Howard Fuller. We're going to talk about education, and we're going to talk about a report that City Forward Collective released recently. It's a major policy brief. And we talked about it briefly on this program, that 22 of Wisconsin's 50 lowest performing schools, this is statewide, are on the north side of the city of Milwaukee. So Coleston and Dr. Fuller are going to be here in about 15 or so minutes. But then I do want to talk about the DEI initiatives that Target got rid of. Then a bunch of black people are like, yeah, we're not going to shop at Target anymore. And so for a whole year, apparently black people boycotted Target. And now I guess the boycott is over, and Target didn't budge. Because apparently, the African-American consumer, when it comes to Target, doesn't have enough influence to get them, Target, to reinstate DEI policies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were going to boycott or if you want to protest with your aim being some kind of social change, you need to have leverage. And if you have no leverage, you are not going to be able to negotiate. The black consumer is expendable. Because all Target had to do is, okay, black people, maybe we're 10 or 11% of their consumers. Maybe it's that high. Maybe it's lower. If and when Target found out that 10 or 11% of their overall consumer base is boycotting them, you know what Target could do? Advertise overseas or find another constituency group to replace the boycotting African Americans. Advertise in Spanish. That'll do it. We didn't have any leverage. And now this makes us look weak because we want corporate America to fear losing the black dollar through a boycott. We want to use withholding our money and not spending our money at certain establishments that don't have policies that are reflective of us and our best wishes. We want them to shake in their boots when we threaten to not shop there. Target withstood a whole year and they changed nothing. So that just made us look a little bit weaker. So the next time we threaten to boycott, companies can just brush us off. We'll talk more about that on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with me, Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals and plates are piled high with flavor, and the lakefront sunrises set the stage for unforgettable days. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. If you're out when the sun comes up, you partied all night long. I've done it before, in my younger days. I'm too old now. If I'm out past 10 o'clock, I'm like, ooh, y'all still want to stay out? I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm getting tired. Tired of us boycotting and getting nothing out of it. A boycott organized against retail giant Target over its rollbacks of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives has ended after a year without any policy changes. Newsweek has contacted Target for comment outside of regular working hours via email. After President Donald Trump's second presidential inauguration in 2025, he implemented many sweeping changes through executive orders. One such change was the president's attempt to rid the federal government of DEI initiatives, which he called wasteful and radical. Following Trump's order, Target and multiple other retail companies announced that they would end certain DEI programs. This, in turn, led to backlash and calls for boycotts as consumer-led boycotts became increasingly prevalent in response to the president's second term in office. This included a boycott called for by the Reverend Jamal Bryant of Georgia, who said that the company had retreated from commitments made after the murder of George Floyd. Ladies and gentlemen, if we as black people want a boycott of a retail giant to be successful, we need a coalition. Just like if we want certain people elected to public office, we need a coalition. Maybe a multiracial coalition, that'd be nice. But we need white people. Now let's think practically for a moment and logically for a second. Do you think that white consumers care that Target has ended and rolled back their DEI programs? Do you think that white people will say, oh, well, black producers of products are not going to have their shelves, are not going to have their products on the shelves anymore at Target. Let us as white people boycott Target. Are you insane? White folks are going to take full advantage. Remember, they feel deprived too because they think this diversity that this country is taking away their economic opportunity. What they don't know and what I wish was taught is that if we go back to the fundamental foundational institution of this country, which is chattel slavery, and the white poverty that slavery created. Now, some of you may find that a little oxymoronic. Like, wait a minute, Sherwin, how did slavery create white poverty? I thought that the slave owners were very, very rich. 1% of the population owned slaves. But if a slave owner purchased human beings for their labor, then you're not hiring white people and paying them a wage. There's no other more simple way I can explain that. If I can buy a person at auction and make them do everything, field work, housework, loan them to the municipality so they can build bridges and roads and everything that a city may need, if I can do all of that, why would I pay a white person a wage? I wouldn't. It'd be a waste of my money. So slavery undermined the economic opportunities of white people, and the poverty in the South still exists because of that institution. I have some real-world impacts of Donald Trump's DEI rollbacks. African Americans are overrepresented in federal employment relative to our share in the private sector workforce, meaning cuts to DEI-linked programs or protections disproportionately impacted us. Black women alone make up almost 12% of the entire federal workforce, nearly double their share of the civilian labor force. In 2025 alone, layoffs tied to DEI, dismantling, and workforce restructuring were projected to reach up to 300,000 federal jobs. By mid-2025, 69,000 federal positions had already been eliminated in many departments where black employees were heavily represented. Average federal salary, $106,000 a year. Even if 10% of the 69,000 layoffs were African Americans, 6,900 jobs times $106,000, $731 million in annual wages lost. Now keep this in mind. These are wages lost and these are jobs evaporated, but everything is getting more expensive, including gas. So it's going to cost you more money to go and drive and apply to the job that you need because you lost a job because Donald Trump rolled back the DEI at the federal level. I'm not done. If layoffs reach 300,000 federal employees, potential $31 to $32 billion in annual wage income will be removed from black communities. Secondary economic effects. Lost federal jobs, reduced pensions, health care benefits, home ownership stability, and middle-class wealth accumulation. These effects ripple into local communities, particularly cities with large black federal workers such as Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Atlanta, and Chicago. Rising unemployment and hiring disparities. So when Trump signed these executive orders to roll back DEI, he knew what he was doing. So when I talk about legislating the N-word, we know that African Americans are overrepresented in federal government employment. My parents were employed by the federal government for 40 years. There was a period of time where my mother, my father, and myself were all working for the federal government. They were working for the post office. I was working for a member of Congress. The first entity to use affirmative action in employment was the federal government. There was an executive order signed by John Kennedy in March of 1961, which created affirmative action. And then from there, African Americans were open to apply for and get jobs within the federal government. We're going to talk more about that in a little while. We are going to welcome Coleston Morgan Jr. and Dr. Howard Fuller. Dr. Fuller just texted me and said he don't know how to get in the building, so I hope Doc is here. Somebody go get Doc.
I just talked to someone. They said both of them were back there.
Okay, perfect. He got in the building. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Thank you, Milwaukee. Because of you, the second annual Truth Community Awards was an unforgettable celebration of the leaders, changemakers, and heroes who make our city shine. A special thank you to our incredible partners, Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Cousins Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall. And thank you to our presenting sponsor, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Together, we're celebrating community, culture, and impact. We'll see you next year at the Truth Community Awards.
I travel all around the world, Dr. Ken, and when I tell you, based on my experiences, this is like the number one country that cares. Like, everything is about money. Yep. Everything.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
I've told people in the past, you have to be careful of what you complain about and what you use as a tool, because other people will take it and use it in the wrong way.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. In studio, we've got a couple of esteemed guests, Mr. Coleston Morgan Jr. of City Forward Collective. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. It's good to be back, Sherwin.
Always a pleasure to have you. And then, of course, Doc, have you won a Nobel Peace Prize yet? And if not, I'll get you one. Dr. Howard Fuller is in studio. Doc, how do I even introduce you? Like, what are your former?
You already said it now. Don't go into form of this, form of that.
Well, we got like 10 minutes for him, right?
At least. No, but we're here on a common topic on this program because I think that the root of a lot of our social issues in the city of Milwaukee is we don't have a workforce, and we're not going to have a workforce, an educated workforce, if we have a public school system that we are all paying for that is not delivering. And the district will ask for more money, and we'll say, here you go, here's more money, and they'll ask for more money again. And it seems that we are not getting a return on our investment. I'm being very diplomatic. Coleston City Forward Collective came out with a policy brief that showed something that was beyond shocking. In fact, when I read it, I was infuriated that of the 50 lowest performing schools in the state, 22 are on the north side of the city of Milwaukee. Please explain that to us and also give us some details as to why you wanted to create the policy brief in the first place.
Yeah, so this is not a new story. I give Dr. Fuller a little bit of grief, but I was a student in the 1990s and he was my superintendent, and this was a story that he was talking about then. And I'm sure he will walk us through the history that has been true for decades beyond that. But when we were looking at this year's state performance scores, every year my organization does a report that says here's how students across the city in Milwaukee are doing. One of the things that immediately popped out to us is, when we look at performance on the north side of the city, we were continuing to see, even under these lowered standards that happened a couple years ago, results that were unacceptable and moving in the wrong direction. And we said, we just actually need to put our finger on this and lift this up, not in a way that, ignores or moves past. I know we all want to tell the good news stories, but sometimes we got to hold that hard truth in front of us. And so that was really the genesis of this report. And you pointed directly to it. Of the 50 lowest performing schools in the state of Wisconsin, 22 of them are on the north side of Milwaukee. 17 of them are MPS district-operated schools on the north side of Milwaukee. Of the 55,000 students on the north side of Milwaukee, just 18% of them, have access to a high-quality school, one that hits 3 or more stars in the way that we look at school performance. Let me go one step deeper on that. When you talk about the high school students, it's just 14%. And then let me go one step deeper still. That 14% are all at 3 schools: Marquette High School, DSHA, and the Hmong American Peace Academy. All those are good schools. But collectively, those 3 schools serve just 3% black students. When we talk about the challenges that our city faces, when we talk about the challenges that our state faces, right, the largest black-white gap in performance of any state in the country, the epicenter of that is on the north side of Milwaukee. 57% of Wisconsin's black students are educated in north side Milwaukee schools. So this is an issue and a challenge and a concern that, those of us who are from Milwaukee, we've known this for generations. But we can't even get to the challenges that our state is facing until we have this conversation about what are we going to do to make sure that we aren't just year after year after year turning away, pretending this isn't true, or just accepting this as a reality.
Dr. Fuller, I know you're not a stranger to this data. So when you see how bad it is, what comes to your mind? Because you have been ringing the alarm for decades about this poor performance. It almost seems like now it's even worse, even though others will tell us that we've been making some progress. So when you see this abysmal data about how poor black children are performing in these schools, what does that make you think?
Well, it makes me think what I've always thought, and that is that our children are not a primary concern of the political structure writ large in this country or in this state. That's not to say that people don't, from now and then, give speeches or put out a paper about how important the kids are. But the reality of it is that's not true. Because if the kids were that important, the conditions that we're talking about, we would not see. I think the problem, though, Sherwin, and you know, I know how Colestin feels about this. There are two aspects to it. There's what we need to be doing in schools, and then there's what we need to be doing outside of the school. Because if you're constantly dealing with economic insecurity, if you're dealing with hunger, if you're dealing with violence, if you're dealing with all the things that our kids are dealing with, it's not possible for schools by themselves to correct that. But at the same time, we can't use those factors as an excuse not to do better with what we should be doing in schools. So let me say two things, and you know, I really appreciate you having me and Colestin allowing me to be a part of this discussion. The first thing I want to say is that you open up by talking about a public education system that is not serving us well. I think what we have to make sure that we do, Sherwin, is to understand that we have a new public education system in Milwaukee. MPS is not the only entity that is serving publicly funded kids. In fact, when I was superintendent, my last day as superintendent, MPS had 95,649 kids. Colestin can give you the number now. It's 50-some thousand kids, right? Yep. So the reality of it is we have a education ecosystem in the city of Milwaukee that is radically different than it was 25 years ago. We have traditional MPS schools, we have charter schools, and we have private schools that are all receiving public money to educate our children. So that we have to change our entire mindset and not focus only on MPS. Because with all due respect, there's a school with my name on it that has to get better. You know what I'm saying? So we all got to understand that this isn't just about MPS has to improve. Charter schools have to improve. Private schools have to improve. We all have to improve. And so that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is that I've been looking at this, unfortunately, since really 1978. And that's a long time. But you can go back to the 1985 study commission that I was a critical part of putting together. And you can look at the data that Colestin just laid out, and you can go back to 1985, and you will see essentially the same data.
In fact, that report sits on my desk because you gave it to me.
Right.
That report came out a month before I was born.
Right.
And we did go back and look at it. And, you know, we would have changed a couple of words because we talk about ourselves using different language now than we did in 1985. But the conclusions would have all held up.
Right. And if you go back to the more general point that I was trying to make sure, Mayor Zeiler, back in 1960, man, and I've got it, I've looked at it for years and years and years, did what was called a study of the inner core. And that was code for let's study the black community. And I guarantee you, sure, if you were to pick up that report today and you were to look at it and change the wording to modernize the wording, it would be essentially the same. And so what I'm trying to argue here for is that we've got to quit acting like what we're now seeing is some new thing that we've finally come to understand. No, this has been happening for decades, before he was born. And we're sitting here talking about the same problem. And so what I'm trying to urge people to see is that we will be talking, or you all will be talking about this same problem 20 years from now if we don't change the political calculus. And what I mean by that is, it isn't that we don't know what to do. We know what to do. We just don't have the political will to do what must be done.
But it just sounds like an excuse, and when it sounds and feels like an excuse, it also seems like these low performances are intentional. Let me play devil's advocate for a moment. So we have a new type, as you were saying earlier, of like public education paradigm in Milwaukee. We've got charter schools, we've got parental choice schools, we have different types of public mechanisms in which we fund a child's education. Some would say that with the parental choice program and with charter schools, well, you're just taking money away from traditional public schools, Dr. Fuller. And if we didn't have those other types of schools, then the funding that is necessary to thoroughly educate a child would be there in the district. What say you to that?
Hold on.
In 19...
Can I hop in here for 1 second? Because I'm going to throw a couple numbers in front of this conversation. 48%. So, like, when you say money away, when Dr. Fuller says we have a new system, like, I think we got to, like, actually, like, stop and think about that for a minute. You walk down the street and you see two kids. It is as likely that one of those students is in a private school or a public charter school using public funding as they are in an MPS school. I think people haven't gotten their heads around that. We are 52-48 this year. We will be 50-50 in the next couple of years. And then the other number is $1.6 billion. That's the MPS budget this year. You know, at an all-time high. Even as that, you know, that budget went up by $105 million just this year alone in state dollars. A whole lot more. And I know everybody who's got property taxes or rent knows exactly where those dollars came from too. Like, this is not a system that is starved for resources. In fact, it is the highest funded local government unit in the state of Wisconsin. They are pulling down more money than the city, more money than the county, you name it. They are the largest single collector of local property taxes. So, you know, I hear what you're saying. I know that's what a lot of people are saying on the street, but I also feel like you got to challenge the premise a little bit.
And they will always say it's a money issue because we're probably just a couple of years away from another referendum. And I'm coming to find out it's very difficult for voters in this city to say no when the district asks for more money, because we voters in the community think, okay, if they get more money, then we're going to see a better return on our investment, and children are going to be performing better, and graduation rates are going to go up. But that never seems to be the case. So we will give them more money because it's very hard to say no. Have them more efficiently use the money they're already getting. They'll get another referendum. Our taxes are going to go up, and we're going to see these exact same numbers that Dr. Fuller's been seeing for the last 50 years. So how do we push back on it's a money thing? We just need more money because they'll get it.
Well, let's go to the first part that you raised about taking money. First of all, the money does not belong to MPS or to charter schools or to private schools. The money belongs to the citizens of the state, and the money should follow the kids. In other words, if we were doing this correctly, every single child in the city of Milwaukee would generate the same per pupil. Sherwin, it makes no sense that you could be a family of three. You have three kids, and this actually happens to be true in our city. You send one of your kids to an MPS school. You send one of your kids to a private school, and you send one of your kids to a charter school. And they generate totally different per pupil allotments. And Colestin can give you the specific numbers. But I want you to think about that. You're the same family. And you just decide what you should be able to do. It's better for one of my children to go to MPS. But I think for my other child, a charter school is better. And for my other child, a private school is better. That's the kind of choices we want you to be able to make. But you should be able to generate the same per pupil. But there's between a $4,000 to $6,000 difference, I think, depending upon which one of these decisions you make. So, I mean, I'll ask Colestin to...
It's exactly right. You know, this year, this city will lose out on $200 million because of what you described, because the 48% of students who are in public charter and private schools are each being funded, you're right on the number, it's between $4,000 and $6,000 less on a per pupil basis, just because of which door they walk into. And, you know, we work with families across the city, like, they're in the same household. This is, you know, older brother, younger sister, cousin, and niece and nephew to each other. You know, same student, same challenges, same home environment, but simply because that parent exercises the choice to send one child to this environment, you know, to the school that's carrying your name, Dr. Fuller, or any of the other public charter schools we have around the city, and sent the other kid to an MPS district operated school. How is that fair? How is that equal, how is that right? And how is that right by our city? How is that right by our students?
Gentlemen, we're going to take a break. Going to come back. I want to ask you a fundamental question. Where's the leadership? Because there are people in decision-making capacities that see this data. They have all the information that we have. They are probably just as offended by the low performance as we are, but it seems like nothing is getting done. We'll talk about that next. We've got Dr. Fuller in the house and also Mr. Coleston Morgan Jr. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Going to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
I love you guys.
I got money now.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Thank you, Milwaukee. Because of you, the second annual Truth Community Awards was an unforgettable celebration of the leaders, changemakers, and heroes who make our city shine. A special thank you to our incredible partners, Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Cousins Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall. And thank you to our presenting sponsor, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Together, we're celebrating community, culture, and impact. We'll see you next year at the Truth Community Awards. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome back. Got Coleston Morgan Jr. in the studio and, of course, Dr. Howard Fuller. Doc, you were just explaining to us while we were on commercial break that there are some that blame these other options that students and parents have on the poor performance or the poor output of the district, but it's always been poor, right? Even before, you go back to 1985, as you were referencing, when we didn't have these other options, you still had the same low level and poor performance.
It's just a false argument. Part of it is, if you were listening closely to what Coleston said in terms of on the north side, where the kids are who actually are in high-performing schools, one of them would not even exist if choice was not with us, like the Monk Peace Academy, for example. Black children probably would not have access to Marquette High and DHSS, I think, were the other ones, without choice. And then if you went below that and looked at entities like St. Marcus or Milwaukee College Prep, or you start looking at those schools, you start looking at even our school, even though I think we have to do so much better. For the past 13 or 14 years, 100% of our graduating seniors have been accepted into college. I know for a fact that there are kids walking around in this city right now, young people, not kids, whose lives, whose contributions to our community are there by virtue of the fact that our school existed. So I think it does not do us any good to point fingers. Like, I don't point fingers at MPS, because I believe that MPS they got 50% of our kids, or 52% or 53%. We must fight to make sure that MPS gets resources, that it does well. But we can't do that at the expense of all of the other publicly funded options that we have. So, for example, we have this education ecosystem made up of traditional MPS schools, charter schools, and private schools. We have a 21st century ecosystem built on top of a set of 20th century rules and regulations.
Doc, can I pause you right there?
Right.
Celeste, I want to ask you, because you have a section in the report, where is the leadership? And what Doc said is correct. It's a 20th century, structure, but here we are 26 years into the 21st century when people are running for office, because MPS is different than some of the other educational structures that we have, that there's a governing body that are elected by the people. And so in the section of the reports you have called Where's the Leadership, I'm asking you, where exactly is the leadership and what questions should we be asking them?
I think it's really simple, right? What is your concrete plan? Not rhetoric, not talking points that you picked up from some special interest groups, not what you poll tested. Where is the concrete plan that's going to improve outcomes for all of the students on the north side of Milwaukee? As Dr. Fuller said, we talk about Milwaukee Public Schools and some of the things that we believe need to happen there. They are serving half of the students across the city and about the same in this part of the city. It has to be part of the solution. Right-sizing the school district has to be part of the solution. For the $1.6 billion that they have, the fact that we're still talking about a nearly $50 million deficit, and actually the conversation we're not even having yet, the $400 million budget gap that's going to open up over the next few years, we got to figure that out and get that right. But we also think, and another point Dr. Fuller made earlier, that accountability has got to extend beyond just Milwaukee Public Schools. I said 22 of the 50 lowest performing schools are on the north side of Milwaukee. Only 17 of them are district operated. That means that we got challenges elsewhere too. And we've got to be honest about that. Wherever we've got a school that isn't serving our students well over a period of time, we got to do something about it. And sometimes that doing something is hard medicine. And so to me, the question that we need to be asking and holding all of our elected leaders, governor, mayor on down, is what are you going to do to address this crisis? Because I don't think we get to any of the other aspirations and hopes that we have for our community, for our city, for our state, if we continue to allow this to fester.
What do you say about the zip code narrative? Well, if the kids come from certain zip codes, Celeste, and they're just going to perform terribly, no matter what, they're doomed by their zip code. What do you say to that?
Look, we've got examples at the school level. I'm a kid who grew up on the north side of Milwaukee. I started to leaning into that, right? And my mother exercised choice, and that led me to Harvard, to the University of Chicago. Not that these are names because they're names, but it is possible. We know it can be done. We know good things can come from the north side of Milwaukee. There is so much brilliance in our schools. Come take a walk through, Dr. Fuller's school or MCP or St. Marcus or any, there is so much good that is happening in our community. But until we solve this structural challenge that Dr. Fuller's pointing his finger on, we've got to govern this like one city, not MPS and the rest, not sectors in this, and certainly not all of us running away from the special interest groups and, they tried this in, 1994, and so we can't do this again, and we tried that in 2003. Like, what are we going to do now in 2026 to ensure that, we are not here, and Doc, you're still going to be here with us, so we are not here 5-10 years from now having the same conversation.
Yeah, but sure, and Celeste, I want to make sure, though, that we don't not talk about the other side of our children's lives. And that's before they ever get into a school building. We have to talk about the reality of the economics in their families. To look at Wisconsin and look at the level of child poverty, for example, we should not ignore these and act like we can just go on and not have to talk about that, or don't have to talk about the fact that we got families who don't have adequate food. If you read a book like Evicted, we have to understand how critical it is for poor people trying to find decent housing. These issues all impact our children. We got to talk about the fact that there are people in this state who are trying to repress the vote, who don't want our people to vote. And then on the other hand, our people need to get out and vote. But it's what I'm trying to get at is we do not do ourselves a service if we only talk about one element of what it is that impacts our kids. Now, Celeste and I will be talking about that because that's the world that we live in the most. Mm-hmm. But those people out there who are working on these other issues, there's got to be a level of collaboration because our kids need the whole thing. And we've got to demand that people pay attention to those other aspects of our children's lives.
Doc, I've had the pleasure of visiting your school. I haven't been to the new one, but when you were on 29th and Capitol, I think it was a freshman English class, and I sat in, and I literally couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's not very often that I get to sit in a classroom setting, full of kids and watching them be instructed. These kids are 14 years old, using the Socratic method to break down whatever passage you had them read, and I could not believe it. And so for those that think that our children are not engaged, that they are not interested, that they don't want to learn, I would invite all of you. I'm not trying to invite the whole city of Dr. School to school, but I think there's a stereotype that, it must be the kids because they see what's on the news.
Right.
The way you engage those young people, and I'm thinking to myself, why is this not happening everywhere? Because you had a way of inspiring those young people that made me feel like I wasted my academic career. So it is very, very possible. And I think the other thing we need to let folks know, our kids actually want to learn. They really do. But there's so many other distractions, and there's things going on in the neighborhood, and sometimes what's happening at home can also be a major impediment to their educational success. And like you said, those things cannot be overlooked. All right, Celestin, the report is out. Okay, so now what? We have the data. We're very disappointed by it. What do we do now?
Look, I keep that 1985 report that Dr. Fuller talks about on the front of my desk for exactly this reason, right? We can't just let this be another report, another conversation that I guess we don't put things on the shelf anymore, but whatever the 2026 version of catching dust on the shelf is, right? You're going to hear us continue to talk about this, continue to lift this up. We've already had conversations with candidates for office, with leaders around the community, trying to put this conversation, further forward with that single question of mine. What are we going to do concretely? Don't tell me it's more money or fully fund. Like, what does that mean? Right? And we started to get in that a little bit today about what fully funded needs to mean. Right? What is the system and the structure that needs to be in place? What is the work that needs to happen inside of those schools and classrooms? And to Dr. Fuller's point, what is the work that we need to do in our communities at large to ensure that our students are coming into those those classrooms and leaving them, equipped to succeed? The brilliance is within them, right? Like, it is our collective job to help unlock, help untack, find whatever analogy you like for that. But the thing that isn't broken in all of this are Milwaukee's kids.
Celestin Morgan Jr. of City Forward Collective and Dr. Howard Fuller, a child of God. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. It has been an interesting and a very insightful conversation. Celestin, where can people go and check out the report?
You can find the report right on our website, www.cityforwardcollective.org, or you can check on our social medias at CFC_MKE.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for having us. Great to see you, too. I haven't
Likewise.
seen you in a while, man.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always know they belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to help. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, build a budget, improve your credit, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying a lot less than what they were paying for rent. So don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey with axhousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home. Oh, let's talk to this person. I got it. Oh, hello there, Al. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good. What to do. You talked about a lot of great things today. Oh, hello?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, there you go. First of all, with the N-word.
Uh-oh.
Well, see, I don't have a problem with the N-word because we know we're the best in everything that we do. And see, the problem is with white privilege, they've been told you have white privilege. But when you put that white privilege up against dedication, motivation, determination to provide for yourself, you know that white privilege got to bow down. It's like having a condom and it just doesn't fit. So you either going to go on it raw, which is law, or you're going to walk away with your head down. So now they're dealing with the reality that white privilege holds nothing against black people. And a lot of them want to sleep with what they call people. But the real issue for those is those N-words is within their culture. Because any race or religion can be an N-word. And they have a very big habit of showing it. See, the ones they call that has class and substance. A lot of them act like they ran out of the cave with no drawers on, Then you brought up, they said, things make kids gay. I don't think nothing can make kids gay, but I think Christianity can add to it. Because have you ever noticed for some reason, it's always they want to take these little boys or little girls in the confessionals. It's not the child that's gay. It's the flesh of the religious person that rises where the curiosity killed the cat. So it's like a person who see all these people having a good time and they doing cocaine and now they want to do something and then once they do the cocaine, now they have half of a nose. And then when you brought that up, I thought about 79 Corvettes, cocaine, and a whole bunch of white men. You know, when they get real high, and the next thing you know, everybody thinks they got a pussy. You know what I mean? Because it's in the rear and not the front, the devil's back door. And then I thought about this song by Divine. You think you a man, but you know you a boy. Because have you noticed, Mr. Hughes?
No, I haven't noticed.
It's all... Well, back in the day, have you noticed when they had the 79 Corvettes, the mullets, the cocaine, or the Lamborghinis? It was always them who was playing the song. You know, or New York City Boy, that song, New York City Boy, and they got the cocaine and everything they against. They want everything they against. They want it all up in their brown round and that sugar honey iced tea box. I just think they have some issues within themselves. But if they was raised right, their mother and father would have said, your race has nothing to do with it. Just continue to give your best. And if it doesn't work the first time, go back the second time. And if it doesn't work the second time, it's something within your formula. You're not tweaking. So that's what I think it is. I just think it's some of that. But yeah, that brung it up. Corvette, cocaine, and a whole bunch of them. Yeah, it brings it back from the day. And you know, Mr. Hughes, I remember one time I went to church. And they was like, hey, I ain't seen you in church. And I said, well, why you calling me after 10 p.m.? And they said, well, we need to talk. I said, well, if it's about me getting on my knees, it's not happening because you go first. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
How do you feel about that? I don't know how I feel about anything anymore. We went from talking about the education of kids to many different indiscretions. Why a 79 Corvette and a mullet, though? Like, why? He's very striking with his descriptions. I can picture everything he says. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard this song before, so that's... Dr. Fuller left me some packet of information. Dear Governor and Superintendent, 16 months ago, you appointed the Study Commission on the Quality of Education in Metropolitan Milwaukee Public Schools. You directed a commission to assess the quality of education in the 22 metropolitan Milwaukee public school districts and to propose actions for improving public school performance. The commission promised its school-by-school assessment on the expectation that there should be a high academic achievement without regard to race, income, class, or gender. We found examples of high achievement in Milwaukee and suburban districts. However, overshadowing this is the finding that most minority children and children from poor families are performing below satisfactory levels. The enclosed final report of the commission includes recommendations which can help alleviate this serious problem. Action is necessary if public education is to give all children the opportunity for rewarding and independent lives. Currently, we are falling far short of that goal. Members of the commission and its staff have considered it a privilege to work on this project. Without the dedication and long hours contributed by commission members and staff, this project would not have been possible. So it is 47 pages and is presented to Governor Anthony S. Earl and Herbert J. Grover, Superintendent of Department of Public Instruction, October 1985. And in this document that I have, you could essentially just change the date to 2026, and it would be identical to what we are seeing right now in our system of public education. And my perspective is, how are we in the city of Milwaukee going to have a technically sophisticated workforce if we have such low performance in reading comprehension, and phonics and math in our current high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, be them parental choice schools, charter schools, or traditional public schools. I think that some of this is very much intentional. So I do so much reading. I gotta read it. Even though it's probably very similar to the City Forward collective policy briefing that recently came out a couple of weeks ago that explains exactly these same issues and problems that we have been dealing with since even before Dr. Fuller was the superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools. I'm going to take a break, come back. Want to finish providing you guys the information about how the elimination of DEI programs, not just from the federal government, but from private companies as well, like Target, has impacted the black community in about a year and 4 months. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You bid, they benefit. It's that simple. WTMJ's Kristen Bry here to tell you that WTMJ is hosting a silent auction for the Milwaukee Diaper Mission. And the auction is live now. Bid now at WTMJcares.com. Bid on game-worn Giannis gear, a signed bat from Brewers slugger Andrew Vaughn, and a golf foursome at Morningstar Golf Club. You score something amazing, local families get the diapers they desperately need. Auction closes Friday. Bid now at WTMJcares.com.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about 4 walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law offices make our community a better place.
They are the best.
For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law offices.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome back. You mad, bro? You should be mad at these low performing numbers we have coming out of the district. But it's, it's one of those problems that we have to continue to deal with. X, turn my camera back on. The people are missing my face. They miss me when my camera's not on. It's a beautiful face. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I don't wear no makeup either. None. No eyeshadow.
I can tell. You kind of got that silver fox thing going on, you know?
Yes, I do. I want to cover this up with makeup. Somebody asked me why I don't dye my beard. Why would I do that? I love this gray. I used to not be gray. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. Maybe it's working in radio. Maybe it's dealing with some of my listeners and callers and dealing with the issues. And just when you think you're making one step forward, you're making 37 steps backwards. The elimination of DEI at the federal level has resulted in rising unemployment and hiring disparities. In April 2025 alone, so a year ago, 38,000 black women lost their jobs. Unemployment jumped from 5.1 to 6.1% in a month, the single largest increase of any demographic group. If they're scapegoating migrants for taking people's jobs, then eliminating DEI and causing more African Americans, particularly black women, to lose their jobs, they call that progress. But what happens is the jobs will never get filled. Structural discrimination evidence. Research indicates racial bias in hiring explains up to 52% of the racial employment gap. DEI programs historically attempted to mitigate this through bias-aware hiring, diverse candidate pipelines, mentorship, and promotion tracking. Without those mechanisms, existing labor market discrimination tends to reassert itself. Private sector pipeline contraction. Federal policy changes influence the private sector because federal contractors employ millions of Americans. The revocation of Executive Order 11246 eliminated a rule requiring federal contractors to analyze workforce diversity, set goals for underrepresented groups, identify hiring barriers for minorities. That executive order was signed by Lyndon Johnson in 1965. Trump went way back to undo affirmative action policies, didn't he? He didn't just do the modern definition of woke DEI. He went back to Great Society programs. Federal contractors collectively employ 22 million workers, representing about 1/5 of the whole U.S. workforce. Even small hiring changes in that sector translate into massive impacts. If minority hiring falls just 1% across federal contractors, 220,000 fewer minority workers will be hired. Using the U.S. median wage of $60,000, that is $13.2 billion of lost annual wages. DEI frameworks and affirmative contracting programs historically expanded government procurement opportunities for minority-owned businesses. Black-owned firms represent 3% of U.S. companies, yet generate only about 1% of business revenue nationally. Government contracting programs were designed to partially offset this disparity. The U.S. government spends roughly $750 billion annually on contracts. If minority business contracting falls even 2% due to policy changes like the elimination of DEI, the effect could be $15 billion less of federal revenue flowing to minority-owned firms. Education and professional pipeline effects. Corporate and institutional DEI initiatives funded. Scholarships, which are now gone. Internships, gone. Diversity hiring programs, gone. Mentorship pipelines, gone. Without these programs, disparities already visible in elite professions may widen. Black law graduates, employment rate is 89.7%. The white graduate rate, 94.7%. In jobs requiring bar passage, black graduates, 74.3% employed. White graduates, 86.5%. It goes on and on. Corporate innovation, productivity loss, health and community impacts, long-term wealth gap consequences. What's this one? African American household wealth is already dramatically lower than white households. We know that. Typical median wealth levels, so average. White household, not bad. $285,000. Black households, $44,000. So the cost of a car, basically. If employment opportunities decline, minority business revenues shrink, promotion pipelines weaken, the wealth gap can widen even further through reduced home ownership, lower retirement savings, reduced inheritance wealth. Bottom line, the elimination of federal DEI frameworks affects African Americans in several quantifiable ways. Hundreds of thousands of potential job losses, tens of billions of dollars of lost wages, billions in lost minority business contracting, reduced access to professional networks and promotional pipelines, increased hiring discrimination effects, reduced representation in leadership roles, greater unemployment-related stress and illness, reduced health care coverage, higher long-term public health costs. These impacts occur because DEI policies historically function as structural correctives for documented labor market discrimination. When those mechanisms disappear, existing disparities tend to widen. Here's what the Democrats should do, but they're not going to do. Run on reinstating diversity, equity, and inclusion policies that Donald Trump evaporated. Let me tell you why they're not going to do that, because white people will get mad. The Democrats need to run on this because their bread and butter is still black and brown people. And if Donald Trump has caused harm, structural, institutional harm, with measurable cost because of his rolling back of DEI, then the Democrats should say, hey, we want to put all this stuff back so we can reduce some of the disparities. But they won't. They probably won't even talk about it. Let's talk to Mr. Lee. I hear you have a question.
Yes, sir. How you doing, young man? I appreciate you accepting my call.
I'm doing well.
How old is... I know you are, sir. And again, condolences and happy belated birthday. As mine as well just passed this Monday, and I started college. But my question is, how old is too old to go back to college?
No, there's no too old. Go back. Go back to school. Oh, you said you went back. You started on Monday, correct?
Yep, birthday. Had to end the celebration early to finish a course to turn in homework, and I'm actually doing it through accredited university online from Arizona.
Congratulations. We are very proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Hey, pass it on. Thank you.
Wait, before you go, Mr. Lee, don't go yet.
Oh, I'm here.
What are you studying?
I'm taking up behavioral health science.
Oh, that'll be an interesting thing. All right. Behavioral health science. And then ultimately, what do you plan on doing with your behavioral health sciences degree or accreditation?
Well, with the accreditation, it helps increase the understanding for those that I am in cares of, and it'll help open up a more in-depth understanding in various areas too. Also include maybe those who can't help, themselves, but bring forth some connections that will help, I believe, sew up some loose ends in our society.
Do you currently work in healthcare?
I definitely do.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for working in healthcare. I know we've got shortages all over the place, so you keep fighting the good fight, because I know our people need healthcare more than anybody else.
All right, sir, and thank you.
Thank you, and
again, happy belated birthday.
Same to you. Oh, all right then. That's no applause for him.
I couldn't find the button. I'm sorry.
We got to get you up to speed. You're still. Well, you've
This
done
is my
this
first
before.
full week as your, full-time producer.
You'll get used to it. Doing all right so far. I am, as you will learn, a stickler for perfection. We don't want poor quality going out over the airwaves. Look, I try. Okay, I can't guarantee every show is going to be a hit. Okay? I get paid for the attempt, not necessarily for the success. I get a bunch of information. I try and make it plain for you. I try and demystify it for you. I try to give you early warning. I'm like a tornado warning. I'm trying to let you know the storm is coming now. Got to batten down the hatches and you got to take shelter because it's coming. It's on its way. I'm trying to tell you how to prepare. Trying to tell you to vote. AI predicted the winner of the 2028 presidential election, and you're not going to like it. It said the Democratic nominee is going to be Kamala Harris, and J.D. Vance is going to be the Republican nominee, and he's going to get 327 electoral votes. He's going to beat Kamala Harris.
I don't believe that.
I hope not.
And I don't believe Kamala's going to,
Oh, hell yes, she is. Oh, God, yes, she's going to run. She's already...
she's going to run, but I don't think she's going to get the nomination.
AOC will outperform her. The further Trump goes and the worse the war goes, the more likely we'll have a Democratic Socialist Democratic nominee. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the